If you're new to this channel and you want to know everything about eating, sleeping, playing, working, the good and the ugly of moving to Minnesota, where it is dang cold 8 months of the year, and you have to move up here, subscribe to this channel because I upload a lot of videos. So when I mean a lot, I upload daily. My name is Eric Olson, and I get calls and emails every single day from people just like you. It doesn't matter to me if you're going to be moving the next 9 days, the next 90 days. You can go ahead and email me, text me, send a pigeon carrier, write me a slow snail mail. It doesn't matter. Fill out a form. My contact info is in the bio below. So it's that little Q right here, contact info in the bio. So I'm a local realtor that can make your transition to Minnesota a little bit easier. And today we're going to be covering the most affordable cities to live in Minnesota. Now, some of these are a little bit further out, but I don't know where you're going to be moving in Minnesota. So I'm going to just cover really the most affordable places in Minnesota, not just the Minneapolis area, but maybe a good hour and a half away. So coming in at number 5, it is a college town. It is Mankato. Mankato is known for a great place to raise kids. It is a college town. So here's a fun fact. Mankato's football team is one of the best teams in the nation. They have been to the national championships multiple times. I would have never guessed that in a million years, considering it's a small town in Mankato and they go to the national championships. That's pretty cool. Shout out to Mankato for that. So Mankato is number 5. Of course, I'm going to show it to you on the map because you might not know where this is, because it is a good hour or so away from the Twin Cities. But Mankato has a small population of 41,000. Might not sound small, but it is small when you consider it against the whole Twin Cities area here. So medium household income is roughly about 45,000. People don't make as much over in Mankato. And of course, that translates into real estate being a little bit cheaper as well. But Mankato has a lot going for itself, especially if you like parks and trails and just that small town atmosphere. Here's number 4, a little bit closer to the Twin Cities. It's by St. Paul, about the first ring of St. Paul. And that number 4 is Woodbury. Woodbury is a city near downtown, but it is able to kind of have a small town feel to it at the same time. So, it has the highest paying industries, over there. If you like fishing, employment is very high over in Woodbury as well. Medium household income is, in the 300s. Now, sorry, correct myself. God, I wish the medium household income was in the 300s. Houses are in the 300s over there. So it's a great place, good education. They have, about 90,000 square feet of ice rinks over their athletic fields, a splash pad, if you like that kind of stuff for families. So, and number 3 on the list of the most affordable cities in Minnesota comes in at, you want to take a guess? Want to put it into the comments what you think number 3 is? Oh, okay, time's up. Number 3, Hastings. Hastings is known as Minnesota's river town due to its proximity of how close it is to, of course, the Mississippi River. You know, that MISSISSIPPI. We used to do that as kids all the time. So if you're not from around here, you might not catch that joke. But anyway, Hastings is number 3, medium household income is roughly about 67,000. That means the home values in Hastings is roughly about 270. So if you're on a budget for homes, Hastings might be a great place for you, especially if you don't mind commuting maybe 15, 20 minutes from maybe Minneapolis, and the homes are a little bit cheaper over there in Hastings. Number 2 on the list is a little bit further out, of course, is Owatonna. You might not have heard of Owatonna because Owatonna is a smaller city in Minnesota with a population of roughly 36,000. Here you can find many hiking and biking trails, cross-country skiing, depending on the season, of course. But God, Minnesota has 8 months of snow. That's not a joke. I mean, think about this here. Sometimes we get snow in October, but God, October, November, December, January, February, March, and sometimes it feels like we get snow in April. Okay, we got 7 months, but it sure feels like 8 months of the year. If you're from Minnesota, you know exactly what I'm talking about there. So Owatonna, and number 2, the medium value of a house over there is dramatically lower. It's under 200,000. So that is why it's one of the most reasonable places on the list, but it is further out. And I'm going to show you exactly where Owatonna is. I mean, it's not close to the Twin Cities. And number 1 on the list, if you take a guess what number 1 is. Number 1 on the list, we're going to go straight south down to Minnesota, is Rochester. You might know Rochester because they have something really big down there, and that is the Mayo Clinic. So many people come here for the Mayo Clinic. So Rochester is a city in southern Minnesota, like I was saying, population of roughly 200,000. So it's its own little community town. You might recognize the name, of course, because it was renowned healthcare organization, of course, is the Mayo Clinic. So the medium house value in Rochester is a little over 220, 225. So it's reasonable, and there are a lot of people that live in Rochester that commute an hour north to go to work because, it pays a little bit higher, and they're totally fine to live in a little bit further out for that lower home value because you get a lot of house down in Rochester. Now, there is one town on here that's not on the list, and I want to call it out. Do you know which one it is, you guys? We're going to go north, about an hour north of the Twin Cities area. Another major college town, St. Cloud. St. Cloud is a major college town. It's about the same population as Rochester. Medium household income is about the same. The house value is about the same. So, you know what? As a bonus, I'm going to throw in St. Cloud. But let's go ahead and dive into the map so I can show you exactly where all these places are. The number 5 was Mankato on the list here. So here is Mankato. That is definitely why it is, reasonable living, but you can see what I'm talking about. It's a good, 65 miles away. So it is it's a college town, but it's very reasonable. But if you don't mind, or maybe you are moving in the Mankato area, it's a college town. Maybe you got a job in the Mankato area. So I definitely do want to, bring Mankato onto the list. But Mankato is beautiful, you guys. You can check out the waterfalls there, about 44,000 people there, but there's always a joke because as soon as the school year kicks off, it feels like the population just grew by another 100,000. But Mankato is a beautiful area. Look at the waterfalls there. Isn't that beautiful? It's a gorgeous area there. So that is Mankato for you. The next one on the list at number 4, like I was saying, is a little bit closer to home here. It's going to be over, it's Woodbury. Woodbury's right there, so we don't even have to jump. Let's go to Woodbury. A little closer to the Twin Cities, obviously, as you see here. Covers a lot of area. You can see Woodbury definitely has some nice houses over there. It's a newer construction. If you're looking for new construction, definitely let's talk about that. My contact info is in the bio there. But Woodbury is a gorgeous place, about 75,000 people. You can kind of get a feel of Woodbury here by looking. That is Minnesota for you. So if you're moving from the south where you have no snow, get ready for snow. Give you an idea. Woodbury gets a lot of snow. So that's Woodbury for you. So Woodbury might be a little bit more reasonable, commute for you, but it's on the list. And that's what's nice about it is that, it's so close to the Twin Cities here. So you got Hastings, and Hastings is not too far from here as well. So we're going to just jump over what I call Superman jump here. Hastings, Minnesota. We're just going to go down a little. Right by the river. Here's Woodbury. Cottage Grove is another great place, but Hastings is right here. If you like that river bluffs, small town atmosphere, 22,000 people. It's right next to the Mississippi St. Croix River. It still has that small town atmosphere, as you can see here, as in, old historic Hastings and Main Street. Tons of walking trails, in Hastings. Very affordable living. Oh, look at those turtles just enjoying the sun out there. But that is Hastings right there. So that's not too bad. From Hastings to Minneapolis here, I'll just kind of show you the distance. It's not far. I mean, from St. Paul, it's 17 minutes. It's about 25 miles. That's not too bad. It's a short commute if you're living or working in the Minneapolis area, but a lot of people have jobs down there, a lot of industrial jobs in Hastings. And then you got Owatonna for number 2 on the list here. And we're just going to teleport over to Owatonna. We're going to go south again, a little bit further out. You'll see, this is a distance here, but if you're really trying to not live in the city, we're talking about 60 miles here, very rural community area. You might want to consider a USDA loan, one of the best loans out there. So let's talk about that, especially if you're a first-time home buyer. The USDA loans is basically a rural loan where they can give you assistance for the down payment. They cover your down payment. I mean, what's better than that? So that's what's going on there. And then, of course, Rochester, we're going to be in almost the same area here. We can just find Rochester right here. So we're just going to go straight across. This is where the Mayo is. And they do have a great population of, 200,000. But you got to remember with Rochester, this is the whole area here. And Rochester is a good hour, to the Twin Cities here. So I kind of show you what that looks like. I mean, it might not look like a long distance, but kind of just, 73 miles if you're going to be, downtown, but maybe you're working in some of these first ring suburbs here over here. So maybe only an hour's travel, get a lot of money or a lot of house for that money. But let's dive into Rochester and I'll show you what the downtown area is. It's a mini little city down there. You can see. It's its own, mini little city in Rochester, but still has that historic small town feel. And then the bonus one that I wanted to cover is St. Cloud. And St. Cloud is a major college area, and that is going to be right up here. So, one reason I wanted to bring up St. Cloud is you might want to live in St. Cloud because a lot of people live in this area right here in St. Cloud where this Becker is, this Monticello area is, and then they commute to right about here, this Maple Grove area, or maybe they even go all the way down here. So this is about, an hour's travel as well. But St. Cloud is great. You get a lot of house for the money. Major college town here. You got the beautiful river. Campus, St. Cloud State University, is roughly about here. And they got an unbelievable rose garden up there in St. Cloud. That's why they're showcasing this. Tons of trails up there. Wild turkeys. Gotta love those wild turkeys. But yeah, St. Cloud is definitely another, area. So I've done videos on Maple Grove, Bloomington. I've done videos on the first ring of Minneapolis here, the cheapest neighborhoods. I've done tons of videos. So check out my videos. And if you need help finding a home, I'm a local realtor. My contact info is in the bio. Let me make this happen. You can email me, text me, call me, whatever works easiest, or fill out the form and let's start talking to make a smooth transition. If you need to do a virtual tour, I'll do that for you too. So Eric Olson, local realtor here in the Twin Cities.